Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week.
Coming up, a special report on the First Amendment and the state law that outraged Carolina students nearly 50 years ago.
Never been getting stronger every day.
And the show won't be going on at the student union for much longer. We'll have the story coming up.
In sports, we'll recap a shocking and historic loss by the women's soccer team.
All that, and you'll meet Stephen Norton, who goes to school and works 55 hours a week. Carolina Week starts right now.
From the James F. Goodman Studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, connecting campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
A special report tonight, a report on freedom. Good evening, I'm Kathleen Whitty.
Hi everyone, I'm Preston Jones. We're going to be considering freedom of the press and freedom of speech.
For the next few weeks, Carolina Week and our sister organizations, Carolina Connection and Reese News, will be taking a closer look at these freedoms protected by the First Amendment to the Constitution.
We're calling our special report Speaking of the First Amendment, and we'll be using two campus events, First Amendment Day and the commemoration of the repeal of the speaker ban law, to frame the discussion.
Tomorrow, the university will celebrate the third annual First Amendment Day. The day-long event is designed to celebrate the First Amendment and to explore its role in the lives of Carolina students. Dr. Kathy Packer of the School of Journalism heads these efforts. She's actually with us live from our satellite studio. Good afternoon, Dr. Packer.
Good afternoon, Kathleen.
So, Dr. Packer, our first question, why should students at UNC concern themselves with the First Amendment? In short, why do we care?
Students should care because the First Amendment is what makes their education educational, their democracy democratic, and it enables them to practice their religion. So all of those things that are so important to all of us are about the marketplace of ideas and the free exchange of ideas, even ideas that we're afraid of or ideas we dislike.
Well, over the next few weeks, we're going to be looking at the speaker ban law, which I personally first learned about in your media law class. We're going to be looking at those speaker ban laws and the protests from the 1960s. Now, this is something that happened almost 50 years ago, so can you tell us a little bit about the speaker ban law, and especially what's the lesson for students today?
I think the student protest against the speaker ban law is a great symbol of how great this university is at its best. And we need that always to be reminded of how great we can be. Because we're not making widgets here. We're educating young people to be citizens and to be leaders of our country. And that's really important work. And we need to be reminded of how important it is. And students took the lead to fight back against the university and against the state legislature, and they won the good fight. And that's worth commemorating.
It sure did. Can you give us a couple examples of what some of the First Amendment Day activities will be?
We have events all day from 9 o'clock in the morning until about 10 o'clock at night. People will be singing controversial music, including The Internet is for Porn from Avenue Q. They're going to be reading from banned books. Chancellor Thorpe will be out in the pit at lunchtime, and we're going to have some panel discussions, one about the free press and the investigation of the football program, and a keynote lecture about students and social media and the First Amendment. So I think we've got something for everybody.
Sounds like it. Sounds like a entertaining as well as incredibly educational day. So that's Dr. Packer, Professor of Journalism here at the university. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Packer.
Thanks for having me.
Another event next month will recall what many suggest was a stain on the First Amendment put there by the state of North Carolina. It was the speaker ban law. Communists were prevented from speaking on any state school campus, and the focal point for the dispute over the law became the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. A documentary by Gorham Kendham recounts the history of the law and its repeal.
June 1963. Representative Phil Goodwin introduces a bill in the State General Assembly which would eventually become known as the Speaker Ban Law. The law prohibited communists from speaking on any state university campus.
It's the only time in all the years of my association with the university that I ever lost a vote in the trustees of the institution, but they turned me down.
To challenge the law, 2 speakers were invited to the Chapel Hill campus in early 1966, Herbert Aptheker and Frank Wilkinson. Aptheker had previously been on campus and was a communist. Wilkinson had spent time in federal prison for refusing to say whether he was a communist or not, while a witness before the House Committee of Un-American Activities. Their visit would change history. Here's an exchange between Police Chief Arthur Beaumont and Student Body President Paul Dixon.
Explain anything, sir. You know you're breaking the law, and we obey the laws here, whether you like it or not. I don't.
Chief Beaumont has informed us that Dr. Aptheker may not speak on the campus. We will therefore move to the other side of the wall. I would request that you, the student body, stay on this side so that you don't interrupt traffic.
They may not have interrupted traffic, but former UNC professor Lou Lipsitz says they made the law look silly.
Standing on a chair and speaking over the wall, and all the students sitting on campus, so that he wasn't on campus, but he was speaking to them over the wall. Here's a way of kind of non-violently and with a tremendous symbolic, it seemed to us, symbolic power, mocking, really, the foolishness of the speaker ban law.
Thousands of students sat right here on this very lawn while Aptheker crossed the stone wall so he could legally give his speech off of campus property.
That my appearance at your university has really turned into a spectacle and some kind of a circus.
Following the speech, Paul Dixon, 11 students, Aptheker, and Wilkinson together all filed a suit against both the state and the university to test the constitutionality of the speaker ban law, a lawsuit that would prove successful for the students.
The 3-judge panel noted that the law was vague. In reference to known members of the Communist Party, they asked, known to whom, to what degree of certainty, and a member in what sense. Thus, with this action, North Carolina no longer has a speaker ban law. This is Ted Harrison reporting for Channel 2 News.
This university is forever in the debt of Paul Dixon for doing what he did. One of the great tragedies of my life is that young man was killed in a car wreck so soon thereafter that.
On University Day, which is October 12th, the university will unveil a marker on the stone wall between McCorkle Place and Franklin Street to commemorate student protests that helped overturn the law. Student Body President Dixon's brother and sister spearheaded the effort to mark the place where the law was contested. Again, Carolina Week, Carolina Connection, and Reese News will be taking closer looks at the First Amendment and the speaker ban law until the dedication.
And on Wednesday, I'll be profiling a UNC professor who was a student on campus during the controversy, and he had a pretty interesting viewpoint, so we'll have his story on Wednesday. Plus, we'll be talking with Carolina Connection reporter Michael Tomsick, who will take a look at the university's sometimes controversial stance on the freedom of speech and the press. Also, you can go to reesenews.org for schedules of events and other special programming. Make sure to click on Speaking of the First Amendment. For Carolina seniors, it's not too early to start thinking about graduation. And now the class of 2012 knows who will be speaking at commencement. The mayor of New York City, Michael Bloomberg, is the speaker. He won't be compensated financially, but the billionaire will be presented with an honorary Doctor of Laws degree that forever ties him to Carolina. Bloomberg is the founder of a far-reaching financial services company and is the 12th richest man in the world.
The $5.5 million makeover for the student union is finally underway, and in a year, the 24-hour Wendy's and lounge area will be up and running, but not everyone's happy with how things are going, and the renovations have got some students acting up. Alana Austin tells us more.
Stronger than I've ever been, getting stronger every day.
Alex Thompson is involved in pretty much every dramatic production on campus. Right now, he's directing this comedy called Your Mother's Butt, while starring in another called The M Word. Because of the many renovations in the student union, Thompson's favorite performance space has been shut down for good. And he and other thespians are having a hard time finding other places to perform.
We want it back. We hated to lose it. I hated to lose it.
Although the cabaret was just one of the performance spaces on campus, Thompson says there just aren't many to begin with.
It's very frustrating, really, really frustrating. I only got to use it once, and it was an awesome show.
The closing of the cabaret is part of Phase 1 of the renovation. Students rejected the part of the proposal that would have renovated the bottom of the Union, including the cabaret. Phase 2 would have included more performance spaces, but Phase 2 may not happen anytime soon. Carolina Union Director Don Luce says that he was disappointed when the cabaret had to shut down.
We do need to meet the needs of the community, and that's definitely a need is for performance space.
Renovating the entire bottom floor of the Union would have cost students an extra $16 a year for the next 30 years. That's $11 million for the next phase of the upgrades.
Why not both? I love Wendy's and I love performance spaces. Those are two great things.
Luce says the ballot for further renovations may be up again after the first phase is complete, but nothing's certain right now. Thompson hopes he can see some of these changes before he graduates in 2 years.
I'm ready now.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Alana Austin, Carolina Week.
The foreclosure of Chapel Hill's Green Bridge will now be in November. Bank of America had scheduled the foreclosure sale this past Thursday. The bank will extend this date to November 7th to allow developers time to find a buyer for the remaining $29 million debt. Greenbridge is an environmentally friendly development highlighting such things as water conservation and solar power systems. Only 37 of the 97 units have been sold in the Rosemary Street development. Foreclosure proceedings have been in the works since this past April.
And now more seating in Lenoir may be attracting more students at mealtime. 11,000 more students were served in the first 10 days of class this year than last year. But does that mean more students are getting meal plans? Not necessarily, reports Carolina Week's Beth Lawrence.
Sophomore Sharissa Royster said she and her parents decided her meal plan wasn't worth the money at Carolina.
I think I save money by cooking because it lasts longer.
Carolina Dining Services Director of Food and Vending, Scott Myers, says UNC is the only school in the system that doesn't require at least some students to purchase meal plans. Currently, some 6,400 of the school's 18,500 undergraduates have meal plans. But the numbers are drastically different between the freshman class and the senior class. Myers said about 90% of the freshman class purchase meal plans, only 15% of the senior class. Myers says the main reason for the drop with each class is that more upperclassmen live off campus. Junior Megan Hayworth says a meal plan is just more convenient.
I know if I didn't have a meal plan, I'd be eating frozen pizza every day.
But Sharissa Royster prefers to try to save. She said the convenience of the dining hall does not outweigh the price.
I feel like it's not worth it because like last year when I had a meal plan, I always had like so many swipes left that it was not even worth it and just wasting money.
Myers refused to say how many students' meals go unused at the end of the semester. He says swipes are not an accurate count because all-you-can-eat meals cover as little as one cookie or as much as a full meal. The convenience keeps Megan Hayworth coming back, but that might change soon.
Well, this is my third year having one. Maybe not next year. I think it depends if I move into an apartment. Apartments would be a lot easier with a kitchen.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Beth Lawrence, Carolina Week.
Well, answers come few and far between when you start inquiring about the money, and in fact, we are still waiting to find out how much money students spend each year on meal plans. Finally, we asked why unused meal money couldn't be returned to the students at the end of the semester. And Myers said the service sets meal plans on how much students usually eat, not the number of swipes. So, Preston, how would you like to go to school full-time and work 55 hours a week?
It sounds good on paper, but I'm not sure I can handle it. Up next, we'll introduce you to a guy who does just that. His story coming up.
Sounds like you could use some Van Gogurt. It's fortified with arts-rich nutrients to improve your math and reading skills. Catch!
Van Gogurt, thanks. So what's the deal with your ear?
Always with the ear, huh?
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
Presidential candidate Michelle Bachmann was the darling of the GOP just the other day, winning a critical Iowa vote. But things have changed, and quickly. She came in last in a straw poll in Florida over the weekend. And some are suggesting it's her stand on HPV and retardation as much as it is Rick Perry that is producing the fall. Amy Whitaker reports.
Janelle Davis is a sophomore at UNC. Before she came to college, she went to the doctor for a checkup and ended up getting the HPV vaccination. The shot prevents the human papillomavirus, or HPV, a disease transmitted by sexual contact that can cause cervical cancer.
It was pretty brief. It was more of a no-brainer. It was just the doctor strongly suggested it.
No-brainer or not, HPV vaccinations have been a hot topic lately. Presidential candidate Michelle Bachmann accuses Texas Governor Rick Perry of going too far by mandating that girls receive the vaccine. UNC political science professor Virginia Gray says the nature of the mandate may work against Perry.
It is inconsistent with the basic philosophy of keeping government out of people's lives.
Adding to the controversy was Bachmann's later allegation on the Today Show that the drug could cause mental retardation. Executive Director for UNC Campus Health Services Mary Covington says that argument is not true.
Is not just one individual case, but, is it routinely seen and was there a cause and an effect?
Covington says the drug has been tested by many health organizations like the FDA and has proven to be safe.
Personally, I would get my children vaccinated.
As for Davis, a year and a half later, she's seen no side effects.
It was just like any other shot.
Davis says she's unsure if she would mandate the vaccination, but she thinks everyone should have the choice to get it or not. In Chapel Hill, I'm Amy Whitaker, Carolina Week.
Dr. Covington says more than 35 million doses of the drug have been administered nationwide so far.
Ambulance response times must be quick, and county officials are hoping to speed them up on campus. A plan is in the works for a new on-campus ambulance substation. County officials hope the new station helps improve response times to calls made from campus. The substation will be located on Mason Farm Road. This new station is costing the county and UNC about $20,000, and officials hope it cuts response times by at least 5 minutes.
More than $6,000 is headed to the UNC Division of Pediatric Hematology and Oncology this week, and all because a few people rode some bikes. That's right, UNC Hospital held the second Petal for Pedes bike ride, and more than 100 people showed up. Some participants got serious for the 50-mile ride, while others went a shorter distance. Either way, they were helping a fund for children with cancer and blood disorders. There was music for the families and even a trainer on site. Look at that. Even UNC students helped out. Carolina Pals volunteered their services, while the Carolina Cycling Club kept an eye out for rider safety. Okay, so how would you like to go to school and work 55 hours a week? No? Well, welcome to the schedule of the editor of the Daily Tar Heel. Reporter Laura Barone shows us how Stephen Norton juggles it all.
Stephen Norton needs a lot of coffee. This 21-year-old UNC senior has to deal with two lives. In the morning, he is a comparative literature major. Then, he turns into the chief editor of the Daily Tar Heel, where he has worked since he was a first year.
This is my priority. We have to get a paper out every day. But at the same time, I think it's important to know that we are all students and we all take our academic job seriously as well. I have to graduate. I can't just drop everything.
Norton was appointed by a special board. He works at the DTH from 2 p.m. to 1 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, which makes it a 55-hour-a-week job. He also takes 5 classes, and his friends sometimes have to remind him the basics.
He sometimes forgets to go to class in the morning, so I have to wake him up because we have class at the same time. So I call him and wake him up so that he can go to class.
And this year, Stephen's schedule might get even busier as he plans on relaunching the DTH website.
One of my goals is really to get us to start thinking outside the box and think that we're not confined to the print product and we can go beyond it, but while still having a very quality print product.
Norton says he's not sure he wants to have a journalism career, but he still plans on applying for jobs in the newspapers next year. I'm Laure Baron for Carolina Week.
Fall temperatures haven't kicked in yet, and it looks like we've got a sunny week ahead.
Yeah, or maybe even some rain in the forecaster. Patrick DeVore will tell us all about it coming up after the break.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 y 10. 10 deditos con ganas de bailar. El dorso es Pedrito y le dicen el pulgar.
Un momento cotidiano puede convertirse en un momento de enseñanza, porque el aprendizaje comienza mucho antes que la escuela. Dele a su hijo el comienzo necesario en bornlearning.org.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm meteorologist Patrick DeVore. Well, start off, we'll give you an update on our drought. We have seen an improvement, especially here in the Chapel Hill area. Drought conditions have improved from severe to moderate. However, we still are experiencing drought conditions south of I-95 and west of I-40. You can see, though, that we do have about a ½ inch of rain above average at RDU, but that's just at RDU and all points east, and that's thanks to Irene that passed through a few weekends ago. Taking a look at our satellite picture, you can see this massive area of clouds out here in the Midwest and this long line extending down to the south. That's a cold front that's going to be pushing to the east as we head throughout the next few days, bringing us a shot of rain. Now, you do see that there's this little area of clouds down to the south over Florida, and there's another area down out in the Atlantic. That area out in the Atlantic, that's in association with the remains of Ophelia. She has broken up and is just remnants of a tropical storm. The Hurricane Center is keeping an eye on that, but we're not expecting anything to happen. And if it does, it'll move off to the north and east and towards Bermuda instead of our area. So nothing to worry about in the tropics right now. That cold front, though, you can see that it is extending all the way across from the Ohio River Valley down to Texas. That's bringing a lot of rain chances as we head throughout the week to points all over the eastern United States. Not so much steady rain, but more scattered thunderstorms and sporadic shower activity. That's going to be pushing east. That's thanks to this low-pressure system that's going to be centered over Indiana and slowly making its way towards the east. We've got a secondary low that's going to be developing in South Carolina, which is going to help bring us better chances for rain tomorrow due to lifting that occurs from low-pressure areas over and rain that happens when a low-pressure area is over you. Again, a lot of rain coverage on Wednesday, but that's going to be mainly sporadic showers and occasional thunderstorms, so keep that umbrella handy. You will need it as we head throughout the week. If you're going to the soccer game tomorrow night, might want to hold on to that umbrella as well. Kickoff at 7 o'clock, temperature about 78, about a 40% chance of a shower. That will be drying up as we head throughout the week, or throughout the game, excuse me. Tonight, expect some scattered showers, occasionally a thunderstorm, nothing too major, so hold on to that umbrella, the low of 68. That showers will be diminishing as we head throughout the night. Tomorrow, we'll start off with some clouds. There will be some more late-day showers, a high of about 85 degrees. As we take a look at our 5-day, you can see that we're going to be in the mid-80s the remainder of the week until we get to the weekend with temperatures dropping down. We could be experiencing our first days of fall. Our rain chances stick around through the middle of the week, and then we die off a little bit as we head towards the weekend.
And here I was looking forward to a little sun.
Towards the end of the week. You'll be able to get some sun then.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Patrick.
You're welcome.
Well, Carborough residents are giving their ears a break today after a full Sunday of live music. Local bands of all sorts took the stage at the 14th annual Carborough Music Festival. Attendees of all ages found something to move to. Bands performed at indoor and outdoor venues across town. An estimated 8,000 people joined the festivities. Many couldn't resist dancing with the drum beat. Others found time to practice for the upcoming hula hooping season. And some just wanted to riot. The festival featured almost 200 acts.
After the break, the women's soccer team breaks a historic tradition coming up in sports.
When you earn your GED diploma, the barriers in your life fall. Take the first step and get free GED information in your area at 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or yourged.org. Earn your GED diploma and begin your brighter future.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm Sierra Watkins. In sports, the UNC football team has fallen from the ranks of the unbeaten after dropping the ball against Georgia Tech. Carolina started off strong with this opening drive touchdown from Giovanni Bernard. He'd give them the early lead, but the Heels find themselves down in the fourth quarter. Britton Renner trying to bring his team back, but he's picked off for the second time with just under 12 minutes to go, and he's pretty disappointed there. But he would get another chance. There he hands the ball off to Bernard, and Gio does the rest. That 55-yard touchdown run ties the game at 28, part of Gio's 155-yard effort from Bernard. But on the ensuing drive, Georgia Tech's Tevin Washington puts the Heels away with this touchdown run of his own. UNC falls 35-28. And in some conference expansion news, Texas A&M has officially joined the SEC and will begin participating in athletics in the 2012-2013 academic year. The long-anticipated move puts the SEC at 13 teams, and that may mean more realignment is on the way. And just to give you an overview, here are the big additions to the major conferences over the past year. Rumors are still swirling that the ACC, SEC, and Big East may continue to add teams. We will bring you all the major updates right here on Carolina Week. And the number two ranked field hockey team improves to 9-1 after their 6th shutout of the season yesterday. The Heels are happy to have Caitlin Falgowski back on the field. She missed 2 games with a hyperextended knee, but midfielder Kelsey Kolajajic says she's got this one. Kolajajic had 2 assists and 2 goals, including this one right here, to cap off a 5-0 UNC win. Switching sports, the UNC women's soccer team loses in overtime for the 2nd time this season, the loss coming from a team that had never beaten Carolina in its history. Virginia beat the Heels for the first time in 38 tries. Despite a crowd of more than 1,400 and playing on national television, the Heels could not find the back of the net. Saves like this one kept the score tied at 0 entering double overtime. But it was UVA that scores the golden goal. You'll see it right here in overtime. And they finally knock off the Heels. And Preston, you'll notice that they were wearing pink jerseys, the Heels were. That was for the Lineberger Cancer Center research.
Always for a good cause. Thanks, Sierra.
Thanks.
So, Preston, what's your favorite soda?
Well, I'm a Coke kind of guy.
And I'm a root beer kind of girl. But coming up, we are going to check out your kind of guy.
If you have a story idea, call Carolina Week at 919-843-8292 or email us at carolinaweek@unc.edu. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNC-CH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina 27599. Be sure to check out Carolina Week and Carolina Connection online at carolinaweek.org.
Well, life begins here. That's one of Coca-Cola's many slogans over the years. The company Life actually began 125 years ago in New Bern. In honor of Coca-Cola's anniversary, 2 UNC alumni are putting their Coke memorabilia on display. The couple's collection started with a few serving trays and became one of the biggest private collections in the country. The relics span more than 100 years in Coca-Cola history and even include pieces of UNC's history as well. You can see the collection from now through December at the Love House in Hutchins Forum on East Franklin Street.
That is a pretty cool and fun piece of history. I had no idea if you Carolina students had anything to do with that.
Yeah, it's something to go down and check it out.
Sure is. Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Good night.